Just,
Okay.
floor is yours.
Hi, I'm Luca from Italy, and I am involved in sci-fi modeling, so it's a sort of dark side of modeling. So, excuse me if I won't show out-of-box models, traditional models, but I try to explain for this conference my inspirational artists and work. And started from my earliest models. There were, above all, 5-star stories series. That is this one. I can try to show you very quickly. I was 16, from 16 to 20 years old, so it was one of my training. And all the models are modified and painted. And it was a good training because I usually, at that time, resin models were very crappy quality. So I made a lot of work to try to give them the best look I can. So they are all modified. I always been involved in sci-fi, above all about robots and this kind of stuff, because I'm very interested in sci-fi movie. Like I grew up with Blade Runner, Star Wars, Dune, and this kind of stuff. This series is very, very weird, and so as soon as I saw the first model, I fell in love because they are unique. Maybe you don't like immediately, but after you see the subject, you can find some interest. And this is a sort of diorama I made. Sorry for bad pictures, but they are very old. This is a sort of sci-fi effect, special effect with smoke. This is a sort of god, mechanical god. And I've made about mostly, 30 models of this series, and 30 models about Gundam models, you know, Gundam World. I don't like so much, but I always see in this subject some good base to learn some techniques. This was my first attempt to modeling, except for some tanks and some airplanes, but I had no skill at the time to represent real world subjects. These are sort of miniatures. They are quite big because they are 20 centimeters or 25, so are not strictly miniatures, but real model, composed by maybe 50 or 100 pieces. And this is all modified. The original one I have no pictures, but it's completely different. And this was an idea for a burned forest with the map inside. And always to show the inspirational work. This one was my favorite. Oh, click. Yeah? No? Sorry. Open?
Yep.
Yeah.
Click on it. Click on the picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Sorry.
Then
Okay. Those models are made at the end of 70s and the beginning of the 80s, and they are made just for a story made with models. So a sort of comic book, but made by models. And sorry for bad quality, but always they are found on the internet, so they are not
high resolution.
High resolution, sorry. You see, they are crazy. This designer is really crazy. I think it was, and it's a genius. Yeah, you see, the models are not. He started with illustrations, and then came up with this kind of strange shapes of starships, robots, and everything else.
Looks like he's like a little bit like Geiger, who
Yeah,
made Alien, the design
yeah,
for
I
Alien.
think, yeah, I think Geiger was the inspiration of every Japanese and also not Japanese artist.
Because this originates from Japan.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this
from
type
Japan.
of models
Yeah,
and
yeah. My inspiration came from Makoto Kobayashi. This is the guy, and other two 5-star stories, the series you saw before, and sorry, this is the okay. This is the latest one, Koyo Koyama, the Machine and Krieger. I think you know because it's quite famous. Always a sci-fi Japanese word, and okay, they are quite interesting because he worked. This is the one of the most popular figure he made. They have no meaning in a realistic way. The pilot can't move the armor, of course, because the joint are here. So every time he moves the arm, he broke his arm. So it's a sort of joke. And but he created the models with other parts of other models, melted down with epoxy and other stuff. And he's a great illustration and concept artist. And he created a story always starting with models. So he created some scenes, some special effects. And this kind of modeling was published on Japanese magazine like Obi Japan and Model Graphics. I think you know because they speak also about traditional modeling. This was my background, and I always wanted to create my own stuff. And I started with
so this is your inspiration.
yeah, my inspirational work. My first model was not for production, just a fun build, just a test. It's composed on model parts I found here and there, and resin part, and this is the painting version. I made this model in maybe 95, 96, so it's quite old. And I tried to join a traditional modeling look in the painting. So this is the first time I've used enamel and washing and this kind of traditional technique way to paint. What I wanted to show was the position, because sometimes this is a model time cover with this model. What I wanted to do was to give a good position, because sometimes mechanical models are quite stupid position or bulky, and I tried to give a sort of soul to this thing.
Do you when you start at that time when you made your first model? Did you have like a concept in your head, or was it just like kit bashing? You just build something and see how it went?
It's quite tricky to explain, because I started with models. I always make drawings for everything else.
Okay, so you make drawings.
Yeah, I started as a painter and engraver and illustrator. But I understood that to make drawings about mechanical modeling, like mechanical subjects, it was not easy at all, because you have to show parts in perspective, and it's not easy every part, because this arm is in this position and this arm is another one. So it was quite tricky at the beginning. So
so that was your first model, the very first model.
Yeah.
In 1995.
Yeah, maybe 95, 90, 98. I can't remember. But the first model I've made fully from scratch built, so built from scratch, was this. This is the illustration I've made. It's quite blurred. And it's very big. I started with an idea to make a model, and I came up with a baby on the deck, so it's 60 centimeters tall. And everything you can see in white is mill put, and weighs a lot, I think 4 or 5 kilos. Was my...
Which milliput did you use?
White, super fine. And you were right, it's quite sticky. And usually
the white marks on the hands. I
usually mix the putty, melt down the 2 parts together, and go washing my hand or wearing gloves, plastic gloves, to sculpt. And this is the first model I've made. And then okay, this is the first model I put in production, and these are the parts. You see, it's mostly all full scratch build with milliput, some wires. This is rough because then I usually put primer. I see all the mistakes, and then I changed what I didn't like. Here's the weapon. But it was a sort of fixed pose, very bulky, and I was stealing Makoto Kobayashi, the guy I showed you before, in that style, in that mood. But again, I started to paint in a sort of realistic way because I wanted to give them a realistic look, not just a robot, you know. And I started to pay attention to the details, wires, cables, and this kind of stuff. This is another version, the second one, the red one. Always in a desert situation. And this is the third one, blue. I made 5 years ago, maybe 6. Maybe it's the better one. I had a lot of antennae and details, and it's not out of box model. I modified my models twice.
So you modified your scratched model?
Yeah. Every run of model I make. This is our photo composition that was in my book, Abacan 2288, the name, Design Studio Press. And this is the early age of the career. This is the second model I put in production. Okay, this is the sketch I made before starting to sculpt. This is the painted version. And then, legs are very important because if you, in my opinion, if you start with good legs, then the robot will be better. If you start with bad leg, it's very easy to make up bad subjects.
So you always start with the legs?
Yeah, mostly, yeah. It is the most important part. After a month, this took 9 months, more or less. I usually make just one leg and one arm. Every part I can mold. I just make one, because then with molds you have all the parts you want. And this is the paint version. It is the cockpit can open. There is a sculpted figure inside. It's all possible, so modeler can choose the position, the pose. And was maybe the first model I was a little bit satisfied about, because I am a little bit skilled of this.
License plate.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's sci-fi, so I feel free to put something I like, but not so much. Sometimes I stop myself.
Do you think about proportions regarding, as you said, you started with the legs. So if you build bulky legs, then you feel that you have to build a bulky, like upper torso, upper body.
Yeah, usually happen. And under the armor there are lots of mechanical details. This is another version without arms, just with weapons. It is colored in orange, but I wanted to put lots of decal because it was a tournament type, so it was a sort of race.
Castro.
You see Castro instead of Castro, or NKG instead of NGK. I changed the decals to. And this is a diorama I made with the second one.
What scale is that?
135. This is Michael Fichtenmeyer version of the same model. Michael Fichtenmeyer is another modeler and producer. He opened Industrial Mechanica that makes cool models. This is another one, makes from another modeler. I wanted to show these pictures because it's funny to see the interpretation from one modeler and the other one. This is all rusted model. This is actually a traditional model. He makes awesome tanks. This is a Korean guy. He makes crazy version of the Brigade. The Brigade is the name of the model. And was a sucker for earthquake. This is the cover of the book, and a short selection of photo composition with some scene about these models. So I created the world where these models were operating. This was a picture I made in New York, always New York.
How tall are these models mostly?
25 centimeters tall. Yeah, it's quite big.
And they're all made of resin.
Yeah, resin and photoetching parts.
You have your own brand producing?
Yeah, Calamity. I opened back in 2006. I self-produced models. This is another illustration. I self-produced models, and now I quit because I have not so much time to follow all the production for these complicated models, because the Brigade is almost 200 parts, so, and it's becoming quite expensive because like oil, you know, price of resin is crazy, and if you produce a small model, is easier than producing a bigger one, also for shipping costs. And
but these are still available to?
No, it's sold out for now. Don't cry, please. But the purpose of these models were to make me known to people, because my goal was to make concept design. I like very much modeling, but sculpting, but I think the most important thing is to be able to imagine and to make drawings about what you want to do, because if you start just with modeling, sculpt, it's quite tricky. You can find lots of problems.
Did you have a fiber optic or lightning inside one of them?
No.
It was only Photoshop.
Fichtenmeyer's.
No,
the blue one you had.
Yeah, the blue one are lens you can buy. Small mirror, very small mirror with the lens glued inside, and with the light it seems.
I thought it was a
but
LED,
it's not really.
LED or something.
Okay. The Michael Fichtenmeyer's version has a lot of cables inside the body and it is able to. You can light the model itself.
Please.
I don't usually light models. It's my personal taste. I don't like so much. It seems always Christmas trees. I don't know. It's my opinion anyway.
Okay.
Then, this is a conversion of sorry. Another model, old model I've made in a winter camo and a winter diorama style.
Apparently a Russian one.
Yeah, my goal was to give some realistic look to the model that won't be realistic. So this was the joke.
And that is that the scale 135 again, or
no? This
bigger?
is 1 to 100. Yeah, it's supposed to be higher than my models. Japanese models always are bigger. This is another model I've made for Dust series. You know Paolo Parente's Dust, maybe. The cartoon was it belongs to an alien faction, so he asked me to create a crazy spider and scary looking. This is the prototype. And this is all milliput, mixed the black and the white. I used lots of milliput in the past. Now I use just Aves. You know Aves? It's American brand. It's always bicomponent, epoxy, but you have big. You can buy 1 kilo. Yeah. So this was my choice recently.
Is that where do you have lenses there?
No, this is just painted.
Okay.
Not a spider, because spider has 8 legs, but
Spiderish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sort of insect. I don't know. I put, as you can see, lots of eyes.
And how long did it take you to make the master?
I think 5 months for this one. It was not complicated compared to the Briegel because it's not possible, and it's simple compared to other models I made. This is, for example, a starship I made. It was a collaboration with a guy who made 3D. He self-made a 3D mini machine and started with a sort of 3D project, but I didn't like so much. So after some drawings, we decided the shape. We worked through emails because we live very far. For example, this is the cannons. some tests about general looking with some crazy detail as well. It's very important sometimes to. This is the first part, the first picture of the first part he made, and when he has finished the parts, I put all the details with my hands, so it's not just a 3D model, but it's crossover between those are thrusters project. This is the explosion of the parts.
And that's resin?
This is apple wood.
Okay.
It's a material, it's used for car prototypes models, you know. It's not hard, you can work very easily. Those are the parts I received. This is the starship. Oh, this is.
Is it detailing?
Yeah. Now here I started to put details with plastic art. The white part you can see for now are just plastic cards, and some wire, some cables, some details. This is the first attempt.
These four in the front are cannons, right?
Sorry?
These four in the front cannons, right?
Yeah. This is the tail. And when you start a project like this, you have always to think about the modeler who will make the model. This is a small brigade that I made. This is a sort of joke. Yeah, I spent one day. It was crazy. And this is the the starship with primer, almost ready for production. This was the model. Oh, everything you can see was refined again, because when you put primer, you see all the mistakes you made. So everything was refined again and again and again, sanding. This was the beginning on the left and the final result of the right. The amount of parts. And then thrusters were metal machined with was a sort of refinery that was behind the starship. Okay, here there is the beginning of the paintwork, some masking. It was a quite simple painting scheme, because a starship is a large scale, so I didn't pay so much attention or so much. I was not so careful in the details. After some washing.
How big is it? How big is it?
Yeah, 35, I think, something like that. These are real metal. And the kit came with these metal thrusters and some other details. Okay. This was the starship. Then I'd like to show you. Sorry.
Så vilken armon.
Ja vel.
Men det har stycken.
Ja, det er greit å vente på.
Hvor lenge står det? Hvor lenge er det?
Nei, jeg vet ikke når det er ferdig. Kan du ta noen andre noen kanskje inn, eventuelt? Ja, vent litt med det.
Ja.
Kan kanskje gjøre Erik.
I think it's not.
Yeah.
There's not the slideshow for this. Anyway. There's not a slideshow comment here. Sorry, I have a trouble. There's not a slideshow.
Det er et PDF.
Oh!
Man må sikkert åpne hver enkelt.
I think it's,
That's a PDF, right?
yeah. Maybe from. Yeah, this. Okay. Sorry. This model was produced by an Industria Meccanica brand
So you
and
did
started
that one?
with.
The caster?
Yeah, it's the caster, and started with computer. I can remember.
Speaker?
Yeah,
Speaker.
this was a razor for part. I put together because I wanted to make a sort of tank locomotive looking, obvious sci-fi. So it was merely put on to create the earliest shapes. This radiator. After refining a little bit with sandpaper. I used some Star Wars and another dragon model to make the weapon. It was always modified. I tend to not keep parts I used as I found, but I always modify all the parts. It was quite a fun build. The reason I started always with already existing parts is that the part itself make me give me the inspiration for the design sometimes.
It's just a way like they did the models for Star Wars. You can find
Yeah.
pieces of
Yes.
Tamiya models from
Yeah.
the 70s.
Yeah, good to
Some
you know.
Sherman parts, some
Yeah,
Panther parts and other.
I'm a sort of nostalgic of this kind of special effects way because 3D, you know, is good, but to see people around the same table to put parts together to make a brand new subject is quite interesting to me. This is the front part. I used a lot of texture with Tamiya and some powder inside to make a cast effect of the metal. The red one is Eves, the other epoxy I use. Is almost completed model. You see that from the beginning to this stage there are lots of details, but it's not finished.
Looks like a steam engine.
Yeah. This is a sort of figure, sorry about the quality, but
That's the pointing figure we discussed, Edward.
this is the other one. created a metal wire frame and then covered with epoxy. The left one was modified figure I made for the Brighel model, the pilot. So I kept this is a sort of garbage I used for the base. This is the figure. 135 scale, always.
You're welcome.
Hi guys, thank you for coming. Today I'd like to show you if it will work. Some techniques I usually use for models, like hairspray and salt technique. I'm not sure it will work because I usually spray hairspray on the model, but now I have just a bottle with hairspray. And this is salt. I refined a little bit the salt.
The famous Tamiya salt.
Yeah, it is fancy salt. Put the salt with a plate. And with a bed brush, I take some lacquer, some hairspray, and I put in the parts I'd like to be rusted, because as you can see I started with a rusted base coat, and then it would be mostly covered by real base coat, but then the chipping of the color we go out in rusted color. That is this one. I hope it makes sense. Anyway, I started maybe around vents and above all in behind the model. This is just a base to be comfortable.
Yeah, so the guns are removable, right?
Yeah. Oh. In fact, now I will remove them, and I paint separately. Yeah. Let's start maybe around here. This should dry very quickly, so I usually apply salt
almost instantly.
Yeah, immediately. You like. I'm just applying salt on hairspray. I hope it will work, because usually I spray the hairspray on the model, but I wouldn't be able to bring the hairspray with me in the luggage, so I go with brush. I try to put just in some parts, not exaggerating, because this technique works better in big scale models. It's not exactly the right model, this one, because rust in scale would be big, large. Large is chipping.
Do you use ordinary table salt?
Yeah, table salt, but I refined very much. This is thin. You can do it with the back of the brush or with other tool. I can remember the name. You use to cook usually, for salad. I don't know. Then maybe a little bit here. Actually, this is just a test, so you can control better when when you're not making a lecture, you can put a lot of salt here and there, or just some little grains.
It's made of a turret of a tiger?
Yeah,
Tiger 2?
there are some tank parts.
Mm-hmm.
This is milliput with other parts. It's
Just
strict.
pressed on it.
Sometimes I created the cases for the parts. So, but this is old model I've made 12, 15 years ago. I can't remember. I found in a box and I said, "Oh, this could be right to make in the luggage to have a trip with this." And yeah, I used many parts, and this rough style like Kobayashi, the author I showed to you yesterday. Sort of kit bash. A little bit here.
I just finally found out why I have a lot of old kit bashing to make something weird.
Yeah, that's the purpose.
Give me some ideas now.
To take off some model boxes from the boards, if you can use with this purpose. Sometimes it's funny. I'm trying to put salt where I'm imagining the rust will be more concentrated. So where water leaking, above all when this is on the ground, not flying under the rain. Okay.
So again, this is like when you make a model and when you do the weathering, you think about, okay, is this like an atmospheric flyer or a space flying? Because like weathering in space is like maybe
yeah,
it's more
it's
like
not
like miniature meteorites hitting the hull and then making skid marks instead of like like rust in no vacuum is like well, not very.
Yeah, usually spacecraft or starships.
This could be a desert rider.
Yeah, this is another thing. So, and again, as I told you yesterday, in the story I have created, there's no, they don't pay attention about the look of the model. So because paint,
they just paint it once and then
because paint costs a lot to paint big stuff like this, so they don't care so much. Like Italian trains. I worked in a rail station for 10 years, and I know trains are the best weathering inspiration you can have. Italian trains, I mean. A little bit more here. Did you use before this technique?
I have not tried it with salt.
Just air spray?
Yes,
Yeah.
I've tried.
Another good technique. Miscoloration, I think. The name. Okay. You can remove the excess in this way, and this will help also for, to dry the lacquer, the hairspray. For the moment I keep here because I need it, but it's dry, perfectly dry, and maybe I can start to paint barrel cannons. I think I'll go with a simple flat aluminium of Tamiya. I usually prefer alclad models, but this should be more complicated because I'd have to give a gloss black paint coat before, and then alclad on the surface. To paint, I have a little toothpick.
You can stick it.
Yeah, cool idea. And okay, mix a little bit. Color.
Do you have like a preferred brand of paints that you use, or is it just Life Color, Tamiya, and
No, I use
Alclad?
everything.
Yeah, whatever you have on hand.
Whatever you have, I have usually. Yeah, I live in a small town, and I find Tamiya, just Tamiya. So if it would be Gunze, like acrylic, I think it's the same. But for this model, I prefer to have a strong base coat, and Tamiya are not maybe top notch or finest model model colors in the world, but they are strong. So for this kind of works, they works perfectly, because then salt will be removed with a tool like this. Maybe I'll need a glass of water later. Okay. This is very basic color technique, nothing so fancy. Yeah, it usually must have a drop to be fine, but I think I put a little bit more. It's a couple of years that I don't paint anything, so sorry if I make some mistakes. I'm rusted as well. Okay, I hope it works. Yeah, I think so. No. I need more thinner. This is a good trick to mix the color better. I think everybody knows. Okay. Thank you so much. You like? You want more? One is done, and the other one. The bad part of the model, I think, is that until the end you have bad effects, because you see that this red and silver is not very eye-catching or good looking. But then with some weathering and main base coat will be better. Sorry. I can spray here.
Sure.
So it's fine.
You have paid for the room, so.
Yeah. Okay. Then I think I could spray a little bit of metal here and there, then it will be refined with the color, but I prefer to wait to give the real base coat, just to see the effect of the salt. So I will clean airbrush. Good smell. For the base coat, I thought to have JA green, simple model color. Oh. My hands are shaking so much, always.
Oh, worry.
I've painted silver the desk, so. Okay. I think it's air pressure is too much. It's impossible to twist the. It's so clever.
Where do you want to go? Just
A little bit more. Okay.
okay.
Yeah, perfect. Now I begin to give the base coat. Green. I don't need to be accurate because then there will be some color modulation. I apply the same color but lighter here and there, so I don't really care to paint everything. Okay, this is basically the very first step of the painting. Yeah. Maybe here. Then I'm trying to add some. I need one more arm, but I don't have.
Let me open it.
Thank you so much. Because it's brand new. Is thank you. With a clean bed brush, I take some white. I can also add a little bit of yellow, everything you want. Now I just put white. A little bit thinner.
You have to pull it up.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Then I start to paint just in the middle of the parts. So, for example, I don't know why, but it was able to make thin line. Now, obviously, it doesn't. Sorry. There's something these errors doesn't work. Basically, I'd like to go inside here to paint in the best way, but now you can see that if I don't put on the back the bottom color go outside the same. I don't know why. Anyway, I'll try my best.
In case you need another one. Brand new.
Cool. It's too late, but
I'm done.
thank you so much for. Oh yeah, maybe later. Okay, this is the medium color. I can get lighter the color again, but yeah, I should do with a new airbrush. Maybe it will work better.
No. You just changed it all.
Yeah. Like to. It's supposed to be a good airbrush, but not this time.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Not anymore. Thank you. Okay, so I will try to paint some details with lighter color. Some thinner. Yes.
Recording.
See that I'm painting just in the middle of panel lines, just to emphasize the the shapes and the inner details of the parts a little bit. Again, I don't care to be so accurate, because this model is supposed to receive lots of steps, painting steps, so I just need to have a tone, a color tone, not so bright but not so dark, just to be able to control the color later.
Watch for paint.
Oh, it's dripping.
There's a drop on the nozzle.
Nozzle.
Okay. No airbrush going today.
It's cleanable.
Who cares? Okay. I forgot to paint this. I had to paint before, but I try to fix later. I would mask in this case, but then I'm planning to have some dark shadows to separate all the parts, so it's quite useless now to mask. You can do it, it's better, but we have not so much time, so I think I'll go faster. Okay, I think main base coat is done. Maybe I'll add some color here, and you see that too much red is visible now, so I usually give a quick base coat in far position. I don't know what to say.
Just overspray it.
Yeah, just to keep color variation, but I don't want to let's see so much red color on the base. This is the healthy hairspray. Okay, you see that the color is a little bit better now. I can go on to paint what I don't like in red. a little bit. Every detail will be painted with brush, so with other colors, so I don't care at all now. Okay. So I don't care the airbrush is too clean, because now I put black, so even if there is some black, some green remain on the airbrush, doesn't matter. Okay. Now I'm gonna try to make some effects about smoke and dirt, black, dark tones on the model. So, for example, inside here, where there will go this other part, there are sort of thrusters. Maybe around the vents, to emphasize some shapes. I try. This. I think it will be a little bit again. I need this color very liquid. Okay, should work. And I start to give black under the model, because this is supposed to have the more rough surface. Okay, and then with a good light, I usually increase the panel lines. Same on the other side. So I want the light obviously on the top, so this part will be lighter and the under the model will be darker. Maybe you can see that shapes are starting to come out a little bit. No?
I moved the tripod.
Okay. It's a long process, so it should be boring now to show everything. I usually pay more attention to the details, but now it's just a test. And then I can come back with a lighter color to increase the chiaroscuro from lighter tones and darker one. But I think I wait a little bit. Maybe I will remove the salt in a few minutes, and maybe
We have about 20 minutes left or something like that.
yeah, I think so. So maybe it's the only thing I would do. Try to give some black here. This would be better to paint in metallic and then to give weathering, but I think I skip for now. Okay, I put the back here so it will be more diluted for the future. I hope the salt technique will work, because I usually, as I told you, spray on the surface with the spray can or hairspray. Maybe to give the lacquer or the hairspray with brush, the coat will be a little bit thicker. So this is what is scaring me. To remove salt, I usually put the model under the water directly, because I usually paint
the whole
resin.
model?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
not the whole model, but just the parts I want. Because I usually paint resin models, and they are very strong, no problem. In this case, it's full of holes and details. I wouldn't recommend this. So I did just a glass of water, toothbrush, I think. Maybe to be more comfortable, I take off the frame, and I start to take off the salt. If it will be removed, I don't know yet. It will take a little bit. I'm spraying you in some way.
No. He said it's kind of brutal to the model. Brutal, you know.
Ah, yeah, I'm brutal, always. Yeah, I like very much to be brutal. I have no respect on models at all. Usually. You have just to have a sort of effect for now. Then every part you don't like, or if you understand you put too much salt in some spot, you can with brush. I usually conserve a bottle with my original color. In this case is out of factory, so no problem, I can keep from here. But if I want a lighter color, I put the lighter color on the spot where I think there is salt excess. If there is too much, I can control with brush.
Okay.
Actually, it's better to wait at least one day before doing this, but now I don't have one day, so obviously. You see that the red is coming up. I should wait that it dries with air simply, but to be faster, for now I can do this on the sides. Another thing is that flat colors are more subtle and less strong than gloss color. So if you paint with gloss color, you don't have to pay so much attention because they are very strong. In this case, it is a flat color on a base coat of another brand of colors. So it will be easy to remove too much paint, and so I recommend if you use flat color as main base coat, to be careful, not as I'm doing.
Do as you say, but do as not as you do.
Yeah. I like to talk, but for nothing.
What do you enjoy the most? Do you enjoy constructing and building the model, or is it the painting and the weathering afterwards when you see the final result?
I usually enjoy everything because when I have an idea, I imagine the sketch I've made as a real ready color. So everything is between the sketch and
the whole process.
The final weathering or the final is just work to join a goal. So I enjoy everything, and I don't enjoy anything. It's everything.
You enjoy the whole process?
And the opposite sometimes,
okay.
Yeah. It depends.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah. This is the perfect definition. I mean, to make a model like this, I think it's pure fun. But if you have 200 of parts to paint in a model, big model, it should be a very boring and long process, because this should be just a leg, maybe a part of a leg, and I have to repeat for
the lower
30
leg,
times.
the upper leg, and then you have 4 of these, and then the arms. And
so this is fun. My models to paint are not fun for me, because I've made many times. So the first time I received the copy and I have to paint, I'm so excited, and the first paint work on this is beautiful. But if I have to repeat twice or 3 for some commission work on the same subject, it should be a little bit boring. Okay, here I can spray just there to remove some water, just to show you the aspect. Because the real effect of this technique is visible just when it's perfectly dry. You see that here the color is lighter than before, because salt gives some white to the surface all around the chipping. You can see here is very white. Lighter, not exactly white. So tomorrow I'd have the real impression of the work I've done before. Now it's just yeah, you have to dry everything very well.
So the paint needs to settle for like a day before.
Yeah, I think so.
Before the result is
the base coat, yeah. The salt usually a couple of hours. Okay, this is the very first weather effect we can achieve. If you want to see. And you see it's a little bit time consuming, but not so much.
Det är lite faktiskt sagt så liksom.
Take a picture, you take a picture.
Sure.
So what do you prefer? Do you prefer the hairspray over the salt technique, or a mix, or?
Actually, when I've experienced the first time the salt and hairspray technique, I felt in love for this effect. And I've made maybe 5 or 6 models with this technique. Look, that it's not important you start with brown color. You can start with every color you like. So if you want a silver, weathering. So maybe some airplane, you know,
Like
there
the
is
Japanese plane.
yeah,
Yeah.
Japanese planes. This is a good technique because it's, in my opinion, is more natural than with a 3-0 air brush
Yeah.
to paint every chip, every stain. In this way, it's more random, so it's more natural. It seems like nature give this effect, and you see that it's not so much time consuming. But the problem of this technique is to find the right hairspray. Some hairspray is very aggressive, and you have always to make tests on useless parts. When you find the right hairspray, for me is Garnier orange one. You can go, I think, in every shop in the world, because I found in Canada as well. There is one red and one orange. The red is not good at all, just the orange one. I don't know yet any other brand, because I've tried many hairspray and several.
Some L'Oreal orange.
Garnier, I think.
Garnier, sorry.
I think Garnier, if I remember correctly. Well, yeah, Garnier. This is good, and now I know that it's good also with brush, because I always spray. With brush in a small model is better, because you can paint just in the place you want. With hairspray, you have a small base cut, but then you have to put salt. In this way, with brush, maybe it's better. So I've learned something here. Do you like?
Me like.
Okay. Now, if you like, I can stop.
We have about 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes? Okay. Yeah, I'd like to have some weathering, but I just discovered I forgot white spirit. So I think I would go with water and Tamiya black, for example, to start. I usually start with black, and then I go with lighter colors, because I don't want too much black in the model. I don't like black lines, are unnatural, obviously. So I start with black, and then I start with light color. Those are very good colors for rust. They these 3 colors belongs to a box set, a kit to make rust, and the name is Dust and Rust. I recommend to everyone. They are
Life colors
awesome.
are very good.
They are awesome, really. Okay, I try with. This is not exactly what I usually do, but as I told you, I forgot white spirit in my town, and so I am.
Can you use airbrush cleaner?
No, I could do, but I'm scared I will remove all the paint, because it's the same thinner of the color, so it would be hardcore chipping after this. Okay, I just need a very little portion of black. You can see it's mostly water. Usually the same. I do the same with the white spirit.
It's almost like a wash.
Yeah, it's a wash, water wash instead of white spirit and oil colors. I prefer this, but now I must do this. So. You can also, if you have this kind of tool, this is for drawing, for the pencil. You can dry a little bit all around, and also shift the color where you like, so it will emphasize the black you put before with airbrush. I need this part dark because there are engine here, and so This would be maybe the darkest part of the model. I usually go random. To emphasize panel lines, it's usually the last part of the process.
The last step. Right.
The last steps, yeah. So now I just want some details come up.
I guess the secret there is not overdoing it. They do it too much. Like less is more sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost.
Always, but sometimes you have not to be scared about the result, because you always can fix the problem. For example, if you understand you put too much black, you can put with brush other paint the same color of the base coat, and you fix the problem mostly. Anyway, this is very poor black, so we won't have this problem. Okay, this is just an example of what we can do with this washing. You can put with the largest brush and less dark on the whole model, but usually you will delete this very light effect that I like so much. That's the meaning I make this model. So usually it's better to paint just in little spots like here. I think it will be visible in some minutes because it has to dry, and I can't spray over here just with air, because what's the name? The wire effect, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. This should be very, very bad. So I can
Spider legs.
Yeah. In the meantime, very last step with light color. This is the darkest one. There are 4 tones of rust and in the box, and this is the darkest one. Another plate. This is light color thinner. Actually, light color and Tamiya are mixable, so you have to be careful not to put too much. I usually give a base coat, a transparent base coat before washings, and usually I put decals before washings. So at this stadium, I usually paint with gloss and clear paint varnish all the model. I wait 2 or 4 hours, and then I apply all the decals. Then another clear coat of matte painting, not gloss, and then I go with weathering, other chippings, and this kind of stuff. Here, this is water. Sorry.
One down.
Yours is done. Sorry for the desk, guys. Try to fix later. Okay, as you can see, is water with a little bit, maybe too much. So.
And that's thinner, or?
Yeah, thinner.
Thinning solution or thinner?
It's thinner.
Okay.
But once again, I usually put when all the coats of color are protected. So now it's quite dangerous, but we have no time, so I just.
Let's hope it won't do any damage.
Sorry.
No,
Let's
it
hope
doesn't.
it won't do.
This is not actually a washing; it's selective washing. A sort. Oh yeah, filter maybe could come later with maybe some yellow or blue. In this case, white would work better, and you apply on the whole model usually. But maybe yeah, it is a selective filter or selective washing. It's too much. Okay. It will be not so much visible when it will be finished. So you can apply more. It's better to apply more washings than just one dark, because if you were wrong at the beginning, you risk to waste everything, all the work you did. Okay, a little bit on the side, for example here. Sorry, but I don't see very well. And I could do also here something like that. If I have, yeah, I can try with this to give some leaking effects.
Streaking rust.
Yeah. Obviously, you have to repeat this operation a lot of time. You can fix with brush. You won't see mostly anything about this process because you have to repeat many times to have the right effect. You can see that it's just a little bit darker, but you don't see the color itself here on the top. So you have just to increase and repeat just where you like to get the surface more weathered or less weathered. And this is just a matter of going on. Basically the techniques are the same. I think for now I can go on all the day. Maybe this evening there will be something something good. You also can mix, for example, this rust tone with this one. This will be more eye-catching because it's more red and lighter. I don't know why it doesn't work, this one. I don't want him too red, but in some places where salt gave the best result, like here, I can emphasize a little bit.
It's more like new rust.
Yeah,
Over the
this
old
is
one.
new rust. Yeah, the brighter, the newest, I think. But I usually, when I finished, I usually make another weather with black to give the colors less brighter in some parts, but in some parts, like maybe on the top, I like to keep bright colors. It's a sort of color modulation technique. Sort of. As I told you, I like very much heavily weather models, so I can stay here to paint rust all the day. It's fun. Okay, I think the main techniques are done. It lacks just some pigments. I usually make some white stripes for insignia, I don't know how to say. Decals will be weathered as well. And at the end you have a true model that should be close to reality, even if it not belongs to reality. Okay, I think we have.
You're done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Let's
so.
see the final product.
The final product
Final results.
you will see maybe on Facebook.
Yeah.
Do you have a website or?
Yeah, I have a
on
website. I can give my business card. Yeah.
You can just write it on.
Also, but if
And
you
on
like,
Facebook.
and Facebook, yeah.
Okay.
You
We go there. Oi,
Oh, calamity.
Fancy.
Okay.
yeah.
Of course, you know what calamity means. Chaos, destruction.
I think so. That's why I don't like brand new models and brand new painting to me. I'm a calamity, I don't know. Sometimes.
Disaster in the making. Is that what
Do you
you're?
have a
Yeah, I like to
website
destroy
or-
stuff.
You just
More than.
write my name on Facebook.
Okay.
I have my account.
Yeah, if you.
It's a normal, Facebook profile, but I only post models. So
Okay.
So,
Nice.
Luca,
Thank you so much
Thank you
for
very
coming,
much.
guys.
thank you for showing us your techniques. Thank you for showing us a
I hope- I hope
really
you-
cool model that's part panther and
Tiger.
king tiger
And Apple Blitz.
and Apple Blitz and, with a wheel under it.
And this, yeah, wheel on it.
Gem's wheel.
Yeah.
It was cool. Thank you very much.
The wheel under the model was the
Blitz.
special touch.
Thank you.
I repeat, I made 15 years ago. Now I wouldn't make this kind of stuff again. But
Hanomag.
Yeah.
These hooks.
there is everything,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, but this is great.